So Steam has decided there's a new type of game that I need to play, and by that I mean it's 90% of my recommended page and discovery queue. And by it's, I mean survival roguelikes. These games are what you get when you take the mind-numbing but satisfying number go up experience of idle games and crossbreed them with the ecstatic god-killing trinket combos of full roguelikes. Though they're all unique in their own ways, the special glue I've found that holds these games together is XP bubbles. There's always little experience globes or coins or some other thing you have to pick up constantly to level up and get stronger. Beyond that, these games can have quite the variety of style and substance. I'll be somewhat loosely ordering them based on depth, going from the simplest of horde survival games to games that truly transcend the basic ideals of this genre to create something incredible and unique. Well, you know the drill by now. Here's a bunch of things I played and my trusty temp worker coasterometer to help me tell you about them. So, yeah. The most common of these games are the simple ones: an arena, endless hordes of enemies, and crazy upgrades to assist you in surviving as long as possible. Probably the most perfect encapsulation of these qualities is BloodDome. Touting itself as the bullet heaven that started it all, this game's old-school graphics, simple gameplay, and yet addicting loop of chaos proves itself worthy of the title. BloodDome sees your unnamed player character thrown into an arena, fighting to the death for money. Unfortunately for you, you'll never see a dime of that cash, as the arena fills with enemies until you have no choice but to be beaten into the closest thing an old CRT monitor can show as dirt. To delay the inevitable, as is the objective of most, if not all, of these games, you're able to earn upgrades for your character to help slaughter the hordes of pixelated brawlers. Increasing simple stats like accuracy, damage, and movement speed, or adding more interesting flair like multiplying the bullets you fire in exchange for a big decrease in accuracy, penetrating multiple enemies, and bouncing your bullets to handle crowds, or greatly increasing your firepower or fire rate in exchange for moving at a turtle's pace. Playing the game unlocks new color schemes for yourself in the arena, but beyond the cosmetic, there is no deep meta progression here, just classic, replayable arcade fun. BloodDome is available for free on Steam. An entertaining, on-rails experience, Choo Survivors proves that a simple concept when executed well can really pay off. In this title, you are tasked with driving a train across a series of levels absolutely fucked with zombies. And by zombies, I don't just mean the wandering horde, but also buff boys that can throw cars, spitty boys that debuff your train in mostly just annoying ways, giant mutants, and bosses that can't really even be classified as zombies anymore. You're not helpless against the waves of undead, though, with an arsenal of weapons, upgrades, and special abilities at your disposal. Machine guns, shotguns, rocket launchers, airstrikes, orbital lasers. It's quite a tantalizing array of trigger-happy treats. As you progress through each level, you'll earn experience points, which upon leveling up grant you supplies to upgrade your train within the run. You can also find supplies along the track, so you're still incentivized to keep moving, but it is fun sometimes to sit back, relax, and watch your train absolutely mulch the oncoming swarm and see the supplies stack up nice and high. As well as supplies, you also find gold, which can be spent on upgrades found at in-run events, or on permanent upgrades in the main menu, which unlock buffs for your health, damage, speed, but also unlock new tricks like exploding machine gun bullets, poison shotgun shells, a floating drone, and brand new trains. There's actually quite a few trains too, each with their own speed, health, and set of weapons allowed, which makes them feel like unique builds depending on your personal playstyle. My favorite train build is of course a tie between the steam locomotive with 5 fully upgraded Tommy guns for that old school 1930s gangster flair, or the nearly futuristic DRG Class 05 with endless fucking missile spam for when I'm feeling like a coward. As well as unlocks for your train, there are 5 different zones to progress through, as you can actually win a level by making it all the way across, or by building a bunker stocked with weapons and holding off a massive boss horde. Delightful. If you play the game long enough, you'll probably want to turn off the sound effects, like me, as the shooting and driving sounds can get really monotonous after a while. But beyond that, the music and the art design are actually really fun. Choo Survivor is available on Steam for $3. Actually, one of the two games that finally made me decide to do this video, Gunsuit Guardians, is a wild ride. A lone trooper dancing a glorious waltz of death across skies blackened with alien invaders. Between the infectiously fun music, the lively pixel art, and the intensely enjoyable power scaling, Gunsuit Guardians is a wonderful time. The movement is essentially the same as any standard top-down game, but the idea of making the sky the backdrop and playing that you're flying through swarms of enemies instead of running makes for an entertaining, if simple, change of pace. The usual trappings are here, if smoothed to a fine diamond. Auto-firing blasters, shotguns, lasers, flamethrowers, all matched with suit upgrades to increase speed, a rechargeable dash ability, health, and damage. The main variability comes in the suits you choose to wear, the basic gunsuit, Boudica, being the perfect middle ground, not a lesser being by any means, but the rest giving way to more unique playstyles and tactics. Do you want to be a human tank, slow-moving but absolutely drowning in weapons and ammo? Dragoon. Do you want to zip about like lightning, diving in and out of combat to strike before you're swatted away? A veritable glass cannon? Hanzo. Do you want to light shit on fire? Pyro. That makes you a pyromaniac. Maybe go to therapy. Another in the list of titles that you can actually beat, if you manage to survive all 20 waves of enemies, and the giant boss that spawns with every 5th wave. Simple gameplay, flashy effects, a silly robot voice that lists what you pick up. Good times. Gunsuit Guardians is available on Steam for $3. Disfigure takes an interesting turn for gameplay by making vision a mechanic all of its own. The whole game takes place in some subterranean nightmare where light is a distant memory. In its simplest form, the light you create is either a circle of vision around you, allowing you more awareness at the cost of a range of view, or a cone that sprouts from your front like a flashlight, which is great for target acquisition at a distance, but leaves you in the dark about what's sneaking up from behind. Not only is vision simply for seeing the hordes of monstrous insects come to feast on your flesh, but it also aids in hurting them. Several of this game's ridiculous and yet perfectly necessary upgrades require vision to activate, such as the radiation feat, which damages all enemies within vision every so many shots fired. To add to your vision, you have upgrades that simply increase the radius or cone, but also some spicy choices like guided missiles that create their own mobile radius of light, or tracer rounds from some of the guns that shoot streaks of light through the darkness. Speaking of guns, the only form of progression in this title is a series of weapon choices. You earn credits with every kill that can be spent to unlock the other weapons. They're all nearly identical in power, depending on how you decide to build and what crazy power-ups you choose, so it's mostly an early game change, but it is still fun feeling the difference between a lever-action rifle that pierces through enemies, a shotgun that scatters and tags hordes of enemies with all of your status effects, and a scythe that throws spinning boomerangs of death that create an absolute spectacle of beautiful murder when paired with the Splinter upgrade that shoots mimic projectiles from kills to create a hurricane of steely death. It's very satisfying. By the later moments of a run, you're usually spitting lightning and plasma across every inch of visible space, which makes for a fun visual noise to keep you running and gunning. A game I genuinely enjoyed and may come back to sometime when I just want a mindless murder machine to rock out to my music to. Disfigure is available on Steam for free, but you can buy a $4 DLC supporter pack to donate to the developer if you're feeling generous. The other game that made me decide to do this video, Remedium Sentinels, is a less than peaceful jaunt through a steampunk gothic world ruined by a plague. You are one of the Sentinels, a team of steampunk mech warriors tasked with slaughtering your way through the plague's creations in order to protect what's left of humanity. Music is a big thing for me in games, and media in general, and I do so love a darker tone. The audio here is no slouch, building a wonderful, nightmarish atmosphere. The aesthetics aren't everything though, so how is the gameplay? It's simple, certainly, with your only controls being movement and a dash, but it is with its wealth of unique weapons for your armored warriors to wield that this game shines. The Percussor, a giant claw arm that propels a delightfully massive steel stake through any unfortunate creature within arm's reach. Landmines to scatter about the map, blasting through hordes of weaker enemies. A mortar that lobs beautifully violent black powder bombs. Plenty of other options await, as well as multiple unique suits of armor on which to stack them. The Gladiator, who does more damage after being hurt. Lumina, faster than the others, and with a rotating buzzsaw to split and splatter flesh and bone. And one of the silliest options, Jackhammer, who has 2 giant boxing hands, and twice the melee speed of any other suit with which to mash and mulch the beasts in his way. There's a simple but nice enough upgrade system with perks for both your entire roster as well as upgrades to each individual suit. There are also transmutations to earn by maxing out a weapon's upgrades within a round, which unlock elemental damage types and thereby another series of upgrades for a weapon. Multiple maps await, each with their own unique looks, and a character to unlock should you find them. Though one of the simpler in terms of gameplay, it's hard to deny that this game's tone and style are definitely special. Remedium Sentinels is available on Steam for $5. A triumphant return to form, as well as a lovely upgrade to the Classic Edition, BloodDome 99 builds upon, but stays true to, the original style and aesthetics, while adding the flavors of more recent and mechanically interesting action roguelikes. New graphics that reap from the wonderfully enjoyable neon flare that the original had sown. New weapons and perks that build off of the originals, while adding unique and entertaining offshoots to branch out your playstyles. New enemies that force you to adapt and grow on the move. A small hub area / menu to unlock new items and cosmetics, read up on what your current unlocks do, and wait for inspiring words to appear on the floor. And new music that evokes the simplicity and liveliness of the original while filling out its own new body and soul. This is a good example of not only how survival roguelikes can grow and become something bigger and deeper, but also of how any older title can be reborn with more modern mechanics and style while retaining its identity. Incredible. Also, I was about to stop recording gameplay when I saw that there was a bee gun, and so I played until I got the bee gun and the queen bees. And the upgrades for the queen bees, and the upgrade that makes the bee gun a shotgun of bees. So, this game's wild. BloodDome 99 is available at the time of recording for $2.39 with their launch sale, and will return to a full $2.99 after the launch period. A steal for the entertainment and quality on show. Yep. Flerp. Okay, but beyond the fact that this game feels like it's going to invade my mind and place a curse on me, it's really cool, because it's a tower defense game, and I love tower defense games. Your only objective is to protect your core, as is the goal of every tower defense game. But instead of earning money for kills, you have to slap your mouse around to collect the little XP bubbles, as in every one of these fucking survival roguelike games. Upon leveling up, you are then awarded money based on your level, plus interest, which rewards you for saving your money. To actually defend your core, you spawn heroes that each have a unique fighting style and abilities, which can be leveled up by buying copies of them, giving them more strength, and then, at level 3, they multiply the power level in some way, like with arcane towers that shoot homing magic missiles, making them shoot 3 or 5 or fucking 12 instead of the typical. It's insane. And although you quickly lose track of anything and everything that is going on, you can pause the game at any time to get a grip on the action. The main barrier to success beyond your coin purse being empty is the store system. 5 items are on display, and you have to pay to re-roll and get 5 more random items. This can quickly drain your supplies if you're rolling to just try and find one specific tower or to get stronger variants, but it does push you to try and experiment more with the variety of towers on display. Wind towers that are based around fast attack speed, arcane towers, all about magic missiles, warrior towers about slapping shit around when it gets close, and my personal favorite, summoner towers that spawn little purple minions that fly around in little swarms of your own to attack the enemy. It's adorable, it's fun, and I love this mash of genres. Flerp is available on Steam for $3. I only played the demo for this one because I'm cheap and broke, but honestly, Fatalzone is a really promising title. The gameplay loop reminds me a lot of this Flash game I played years ago called The Last Stand, which is actually available on Steam now, where during the day you handle your base of operations, sending scouting missions to grab supplies, upgrade your defenses, find survivors, and then at night you spend your time at the wall of your base holding back waves of zombies. The main trade-off here is that instead of being at the wall, you're the one going out on the raids to find supplies, and you're forced to hold off the horde while on the run instead of safe behind your barricades. Although surrounded at almost every moment, learning to find openings in the horde and how to kite them around in circles to pick up your experience points can make or break your run. This game does one of my favorite things that some games in this genre do, and actually has an infinite arena, allowing you to continue running in any direction to keep your distance, rather than getting stuck in a corner and being overwhelmed with no recourse. It makes for some really fun freeform exploration too, as besides killing the zombies to level your character, you're also looking for supplies. Scattered throughout this generated landscape are crates that your character can smash open to find medkits with which to heal, beacons that suck up all the experience you've yet to pick up within a large radius, and scraps of scrap with which to upgrade your home base. The base is where this game gets to shine in its own way. To be as reductive as possible, it's another series of menus for upgrades, but to give this game its due, it's a series of unique menus that help you define your playstyle and tailor the game to your liking. A workshop to upgrade your character's base weapons that they bring into every run. A recruiting station to gain new, randomly generated survivors, as those you bring into a mission have permadeath. A gym to unlock perks for strong, permanent upgrades to all of your survivors, new and old. And one of the most interesting aspects of this game, the infirmary. Firstly, and uniquely as in this game, there is an evac mechanic, where every few minutes a helicopter will spawn on the map, allowing you to get out of the level with your goods and your now more experienced character. The infirmary upgrades allow more helicopter spawns, so getting in and out of runs become easier, so you can jump in, collect some supplies, fuck around, and get out. Added on to this, however, is another really cool aspect. As your characters pick up experience in the field, they're actually slowly infecting themselves with the zombie plague. If you pick up 1000 experience, you gain a mutation, which creates a positive and a negative effect on your character. More damage, movement speed, armor, area of effect for abilities, but it's countered by a decrease in one of the others. However, your infirmary allows you to manage each survivor's mutations, so you can clean up the bad and keep the good. It makes for yet another layer of progression beyond simply upgrading your weapons and your talents that you gain in the field. The talents and weapons are essentially the same things you find in a lot of these games: automatic weapons versus strong but direct damage, explosions, fire, lightning, but paired with everything else and the fact that there's quite a few to unlock and choose from, it makes for a wealth of content should you want to keep digging for that next perfect combo. The full Fatalzone experience is available for $8 on Steam. Leaning more towards a gritty, dark fantasy aesthetic, Keeper's Toll succeeds very well in capturing a lot of the Diablo-esque magic that these titles seem to yearn for. The developers here put a lot of time into building a small roster of characters, each with completely unique abilities and playstyles, rather than a roster of trinkets like in most of these roguelikes. It makes spending time getting to know each one more rewarding, as instead of hoping for a specific item to spawn and learning to deal with the randomness, you know what you're going to get eventually and learn to play around each of their unique strengths and weaknesses. The Bogatyr, a melee tank built around strong sword attacks, earth-shattering slams, a war horn that gives temporary buffs to speed, damage, and health regen, and high survivability through innate damage reduction and health regeneration. A Necromancer, using a variety of area effect spells and the ability to summon skeletal warriors and exploding corpses from falling enemies, makes quick work of crowds, but when enemies get too close, you have to learn to rely on a flail that you manually control with your movement to swing. A Ranger, able to fire their bow backwards while running, so you can kite hordes of enemies at ease, using sprays of poison and arrows, as well as scattering exploding traps to clean up the survivors. And the newest class, with a relatively recent update, the Shadow Monk, a blazing flurry of punches, kicks, and twisting shadow magics, allowing you to get in and out of fights, and finishing it all off with a teleporting blast attack that you actually have to put in a combo of keys to activate, like a fucking Mortal Kombat fatality. There's only 2 levels on show so far, but they're each very unique and have their own enemies, boss encounters, traps, and environmental loot areas to collect the soul orbs you use to level up, and the gold you spend in the main menu to permanently upgrade your characters. Definitely impressed with the development of this game, adding even new mechanics like a dodge stamina bar that adds some strategy to how you dive through the horde, whether to escape a fight or to slip through and pick up those tasty souls. It's very enjoyable. Also, the Mimic chest has, like, long, almost sexy legs? I don't know what that's about, but I suppose dark fantasy is a strange place. Keeper's Toll is available on Steam for $5. I don't know what I was expecting with this one. It's so rare that I have a game that makes me laugh out loud when I'm all alone, and then consistently scream, "What the fuck is even happening?" at the screen. Ultrafun is a meta thing within a game, with another game in it. It starts off fairly simple. You're playing an quote-unquote unfinished game that is changing and being updated as you play. You kill the Voidlings, you get XP and money to level up and upgrade your stats. Simple. But then Qbert appears, and suddenly you have access to a strange farm thing that is outside the game, with a weird, pleasant tree that you can feed by feeding the Voidlings to Qberts? More Qberts? I have yet to see any, like, reason for this. It just exists and you can choose to play it. I was scream laughing. I was so confused and bewildered. And then back in the main game, strange messages start hinting that maybe not everything is as it seems. And then Olaf appears. And more strange messages. And then Devine, Krober, Sylvia, a whole strange cast of glowing creatures that wander around as if you're not waging war. And then they begin to drop items. A fancy bug, a chef's kiss, an unmistakable clamshell. The list goes on and on and on and on, and honestly, I have no idea how many items there are. I think I collected like 25% of them by the time I couldn't continue playing anymore. Apparently, you can level up to like level 1500 in this game. I think I got to like 650 before I tapped out. And the whole time, every so many levels, you enter a new epoch and receive a bit of strange meta-narrative about the game being updated and strange void beings and how you're just some fucking guy who's really not affecting anything at all and being really annoying. And there's also, I guess, another side plot about how scientists created a black hole and then they all simultaneously jumped into it and fucking loved it. And then the characters that are giving you items, they're like dreaming up the world again or something. It's so strange and cool and bizarre and fascinating. I wish I had the energy to keep playing and to finish it all and read it all, but I just have no energy after all the fucking XP bubbles I've already collected to keep collecting and collecting, even for such a genuinely interesting game. Being able to respawn with no penalty except a 5-second delay definitely keeps there from being much in the way of stakes, so the long playtime to unlock and progress definitely becomes a bit tedious, but it also prevents you from feeling like you can lose out on the experience, so I suppose it allows the narrative and bizarre nature to stay at the forefront of the game. It's definitely worth a look if you're willing to put in the time. Oh my god. Ultrafun is available for free on Steam. Truly a whole goddamn experience. Death Must Die takes everything we know about survival roguelikes and builds not only an extremely well-designed gameplay loop, but a damn story, a fun cast of characters, and hints at a genuinely interesting world. Death has betrayed the divine and mortal realms and has moved to take the souls of mortals before fate has ordained. The fates and time itself and the rest of this unique pantheon of gods have assembled a squad of heroes, each with unique backgrounds and skills, to take the fight to death itself in the underworld, the gates of which are, ironically, on the highest mountain in the world. A small camp builds over time with each successive run that you fail, opening up new characters, a shop, and some interesting shrines. While in a run, the gameplay is mostly similar to that of Keeper's Toll, with unique enemies with varied attack patterns and lots of environmental shrines and boxes to open for loot, but the absolute wealth of options for trinkets is fascinating. Each of the gods of this world's pantheon offer their own unique upgrades and playstyles, from Crom, the god of conquest, who gives you knockback, bleed, and spinning storms of blades, to Lei Gong, the god of lightning, who offers movement and attack speed, chain lightning, and the chance to attack more than once with every sweep of your weapon, to Time, who gives you a giant fucking bubble that slows time and movement and projectiles, and it looks cool. It's cool, dude. It's so cool. One of my favorites is Mort, the daughter of death, who offers phantoms that take off percentage of an enemy's health, swarms of crows that claw and curse your enemies, and the ability to summon skeleton warriors with which to build your own wave of minions to crash against those of death. Alongside the boons from the gods, your characters also collect armor and weapons on their journey, randomly dropped by enemies, bosses, and looted pots that you smash. This system makes this by far the most Diablo-esque game on the list, and I have to say I am all here for it. Randomly generated stats and buffs from the weapons and armor give your characters permanent buffs for their runs, resulting in higher damage, larger AoE, and lower cooldown for their spells, general increases in survivability, and rare abilities like this pair of boots that my rogue found that makes their dash shoot out scythes. It's really, really satisfying to find better loot, being able to slap on new gear while in the run, or to sell it to the shop back in the hub area for something that better suits you, or just has more green text, which is about all my smooth brain can handle. It's really cool how there's this slow build of the characters, and by extension the player, learning about the story and the world through actual dialogue between each other, as well as fully voiced exposition from the gods themselves as you level up. It makes for a game that allows quick and exciting gameplay that this genre is known for, while building a real game and world on top of it. Definitely something I plan to continue playing as they release new characters, new gods, new zones and enemies. It's just really exciting to see that some of these games are well kept and that they have genuine plans to make them into full experiences. Oh, also, you walk into what I assume is the River Styx to go to the underworld, which is just a fun detail on top of all the other really fun details. Death Must Die is available on Steam for $7. This final category has been a bit unfair. It's essentially my favorites of this video's experiences, but I have to say, I hope you don't use my opinion here to discredit the other titles. They all have their merits, and by the simple fact that they made it into the video versus quite a few others that I also played but decided not to include, should inform you of their quality. But my dark, beautiful chaos gods, these last three, the things that they made me feel, the things they made me do, and this last one, the things that it made me want. Vampire Hunters has to be the most ridiculous game I've played in a long time. Have you ever looked at your gun while playing Doom or Call of Duty or any other shooter and thought to yourself, what if I stapled 9 other guns to it? Have you ever even imagined yourself shooting 10 sniper rifles at the same time through a horde of abominations while a pair of cats meow in your ears to give you extra health and damage? No? Then please, for the love of Dracula, play this game. It's really hard if, like me, you're not good at games, but oh, it's so fun. There's something so wrong, yet so right about shooting a tree of bolted together submachine guns into a crowd and seeing the bullets ricochet into a Christmas light show. Oh, there's so many weapons, each with a series of tiered upgrades that give them increasingly powerful and increasingly ridiculous perks, like the submachine gun's ability to get full reloads on kills, and the ricochet I mentioned, but extending to insanity, like a crucifix boomerang launcher that slices through and weakens the horde, homing missiles that make enemies explode when they die, and they become a crowd of smaller missiles upon detonation. A fucking fire hose of holy water that pushes enemies away in a torrent of divine fluid. And my favorite, sniper rifles that count anywhere on the body as a headshot, thereby multiplying the damage, followed by a perk that makes headshots give a chance to insta-kill the enemies. You see where this is going.
But I'm not done yet.
The starting weapon that you choose counts as a class, and they can be permanently upgraded after enough use, unlocking new mechanical changes to the way that they and your other weapons work. Your SMG at base gives you a fire rate boost for all of your weapons, but at level 2, you can choose to add more ammo to the clip and more max ammo to all of your weapons in exchange for a 5% crit chance reduction, which of course, while you're playing the game, can be overridden with upgrades. The flamethrower at level 3 can decide to no longer affect enemies by any status effect except burning, but multiplies the burning effect by 5 times.
But I'm not done yet.
On top of the primary weapons you can hold 5 of in each hand, you also have 2 secondary weapon slots which extend from mechanical arms above your head to swat your enemies with baseball bats, annihilate them with whips, or blast them apart with sticky grenades.
But I'm not done yet.
There's also 2 passive weapon slots taking the form of ghostly arms that provide magical supports like homing death orbs, chained lightning blasts, a flock of ethereal ravens that circle you and slice through the swarm, and multiple more. You can also unlock constellations that change the way entire game mechanics work. You can limit yourself to only 1 weapon type per slot, so you become a monstrous abomination of identical metal death. One that prevents the use of primary weapons at all, but increases the recharge speed of the secondary weapons, so you're forced to rely on those baseball bats and whips to absolutely obliterate the horde. or even one that turns the screen upside down, because fucking why not? Fuck you, that's why. Out of all the games in this list, it is undoubtedly the one that I will keep playing, especially as it keeps getting updated with more and more content. If I had to pick a game to perfectly encapsulate what I want out of this genre, since Steam is forcing me to play it, Vampire Hunters would be it. Pure chaos, pure fun, and also 10 guns stapled together. And that is the end of my list. Another longer one, and one that took a lot longer to make than I was planning, but I am so glad to finally have it out. I had a ton of fun, as always, playing these games, learning new things, experiencing new things, and now talking to you guys about it and sharing with you so that maybe you can bear the curse as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, hey, thank you for still being here. That's very sweet of you. We broke 1,000 subscribers this year, which that's a huge milestone for anybody. But for me specifically, it's really fucking cool. It's kind of like a little badge of not authenticity. I don't know. It makes it official that this is like an actual channel and that like I'm actually making content and that people actually like what I'm doing. So that's really cool. Thank you. Thank you all so much for your support over this last, I mean, I've been making videos for a while, but especially over this last year, it's been a very weird year for me. And getting into like really making, you know, lots of videos and edited content and stuff it's been an adventure. And I appreciate you guys for coming along with me on this adventure. For those of you who are looking for a way to support this kind of content beyond the usual, watching and liking and subscribing, you can join now as a member. It's, you know, a little monthly subscription fucking thing. I'm gonna make tiers or whatever. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's just a thing that you can do if you want to be nice to me. And I'm gonna start doing a little thingy at the end of my videos now, thanking and reading the names of people who do decide to do the little extra thingy. A little extra thanks for a lot of extra support, honestly. It's really cool that anybody would even think of doing that. So yeah, the least I can do is say thank you. Speaking of which, thank you again for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and or night. And we'll see you next time. Bye.